I know, you probably have a ton of questions, which I'll answer right now.
Where have you been?
I've been on a month-long trip to Florida, business and pleasure.
How did you get there?
We'll get to that.
What is a town ace?
Great question. We'll also get to that, but not today. I'll have more on that in the next, I don't know, maybe a couple of weeks or so. Back in July, we bought a 2019 model, but I think it's a 2018 Sprinter, like a big Sprinter 3500, and it's like built out like an RV inside. People actually use these for RVs. We're not gonna probably camp in it very much, but that is the subject of today's video. Boom. So by now, you're probably wondering, what the heck is going on here? For business, I've talked about this a little bit. I own a real estate brokerage and short-term vacation rental management company in Florida. The reason we moved to Utah is to open a Park City office, which we're in the middle of doing right now. Because my, like 95% of our business operations are in Florida, I travel back to Florida on a very regular basis. And I almost always take one of the kids with me, but I wanted to have a platform by which I could take everybody, the entire family, back to Florida with me. And the plan is to go quarterly, 4 times a year. I have 7 kids total. I have 5 at home. And in order for all of us to travel anywhere together as a family, it's incredibly expensive. So we wanted to get a platform by which we could travel together. We had a full-size van that works really, really good for road trips, but not like 3 10-hour-day road trips. You're just not as comfortable. So we wanted to get sort of like an RV, but not really, if that makes sense. The idea was to get, sure, they make large transit vans and large Sprinter vans with just like the seats, but I wanted something that was gonna have a small kitchen, something that was gonna have a refrigerator and a bathroom, and then enough seats for everybody to sit. And I wanted, TV entertainment stuff as well. I could have built out a van from scratch, sure, but I didn't want to. I just wanted to buy like a ready-made solution. This is a 2019, I'm actually a little confused on this. I don't know if this is a 2018 based Sprinter van or if this is an actual 2019 model, because the 2019 models don't quite look like this in the front. So I'm not totally clear on that, but this is a 2019 model American Coach Patriot, I believe is the correct way to use. It is the 6-liter diesel, 3-liter, 6-cylinder 3-liter diesel, I think. Whatever the standard diesel motor is, but it's their heavy-duty 3500 chassis. It's got the dually in the back. It's the the extended length. It's the biggest one that the Sprinter guys make, that the Sprinter makes, that the Sprinter people. It's the biggest Sprinter van that you can get. And if you're new here and you're wondering why I'm like bumbling through this, firstly, welcome to the channel. Secondly, I bumble through everything because I'm like inept and practically unintelligible and can't hardly speak. But that's my burden. Candy dust everywhere. This is the very first foray for American Coach into the Sprinter chassis RV arena. There are several other major players in this arena. One of the probably most notable is Airstream, Winnebago, since I guess Actually, I think for a while now. I kind of thought about getting like one of those like C-Class RVs, or maybe even a Sprinter chassis kind of RV with the RV bulky stuff built on. I couldn't really find anything that really suited my needs, and I really wanted something way more subtle than that, right? I didn't want it to scream RV. I think if you're in the know, that you know that this is technically probably kind of like an RV, but I think if you're not, maybe it just looks like a big van, and that's really what we were going for. There are a lot of options to pick from, and to be completely forthright and upfront, I was really nervous getting into the whole RV buying arena. I'm pretty aware of the fact that the RV industry as a whole is kind of wrought with problems in terms of manufacturing quality, you know, sort of standards, you know, stuff like that. There are countless stories on the interwebs about people buying a new RV and having problems right off the bat with new RVs, and really having a hard time getting those problems properly rectified. Of course, you got warranty stuff, but it's like, if you buy a new RV and the roof leaks and you end up with a major problem, and then you take it back and they're like, yeah, sure, we'll fix it under warranty. And you're like, when can I have it back? Because I'm still making payments on it and I still would like to use it. And they're like, we can have it done in, you know, just 4 to 6 months. What? I'm sorry if this is a major problem, but I shouldn't be having it in the first place. That happens all the time. In fact, even on this one, the roof leaked. Like the 3rd day we had it, torrential downpour down in Orlando, roof leaked. Fortunately, it was leaking around the air conditioning unit. Upon research, I found that that was a fairly common roof leak. But one of the main reasons why I wanted to get like a Sprinter shell based vehicle was because I didn't want all the fabricated stuff in the back, right? I wanted it to be basically a van that the inside was built out on. Now, we are not planning on, the purpose of this was not to camp in it. Although we may use it for camping, we're still gonna stay in hotels on our long haul trips out to Florida. The purpose of this was to augment our drives to make them more comfortable, primarily so that I could take my whole family with me. Because beforehand, doing that was really not possible. And, you know, to be honest, all the kids were missing the beach and my wife was missing the beach, and I have business there, and this gives us the capability of doing that, right? Before this, without this, it's not really doable for us. This makes it doable. The thing that attracted me to this particular model was particularly the floor plan, okay? So the Airstream version of this they have an option to have a very similar floor plan. The price was way more than this one new. I looked at the inside of it to see if there was like major differences, and there are differences. I don't even have a detailed list of those differences, but when I looked at it, bump in my head, I just didn't feel like it was worth the extra money. This has 4 captain's chairs in the front. The 2 chairs in the front, the driver and passenger, they both swivel. You've got a table mount right there, so you can put a table. We'll probably never use it. You've got a kitchen area here with an induction stovetop, which is kind of cool because you're not running gas inside the RV. You've got a sink here. I think the water storage, maybe 23 gallons. I'm not really totally sure on the specifics on fresh water and gray water, black water storage. I know that in fact, to be completely upfront with you, I don't even know a whole lot of the specifics because I probably shouldn't say this, and no offense to any of the dealer people watching this, but the dealer people that I was working with, they didn't really know the specifics on this model either. I know that there is a huge AGM battery underneath that's like this big. It's got a generator. And so it's got a lot of the basic RV stuff that you can use. You got a 100-watt solar panel up on top, running through a Zamp Solar. Zamp Solar? Yeah, Zamp Solar, solar charge controller. It does have an inverter. There are AC plugs all over the place. Am I saying that right? There's surprisingly a general void of 12-volt plugs, which I kind of thought that would be the opposite. Obviously, there are locks on all these cabinets and drawers. There are several missing, hence the hole here. They're supposed to be sending me some of those. That was something that we worked with. And then there's 2 TVs, speakers, Obviously around, there's a DVD player, some fancy like stereo head unit thing that does something. I'm not really even sure of all the details. But the reason why I bought this was because it was a Sprinter. It was backed by a Mercedes warranty, has the diesel motor, you know, and I've had lackluster response. Like, I've had a lot of people that have told me in the past, stay away from the Sprinter platform, they're gonna break down, they're gonna be expensive to maintain, etc., etc. It's not that I don't believe you, it's that this is such a common platform out there that I'm just not as worried about it. They're everywhere. I mean, there's Sprinter vans all over the place. You've got shore power connection on the outside, so you can hook up to shore power and run the air conditioning unit. The air conditioning unit only runs on the generator. You've got shore power connection, you've got propane, you've got a little way to hook up propane on the outside to have a grill outside. You've got regular outlets on the outside too, so you can plug in like lights or something. You've got your regular sewer dump, so you can dump your black water and gray water. You even have a sewer hose dump hose storage thing, tube in the back. Driving down the road, it's super comfortable. You know, we had a 2011 Ford E350 full-size van, and I will tell you that driving down the highway in that, my wife and I can barely talk to each other. You certainly can't hear what the kids are saying in the back if they want to talk to you, if you want to talk to them. But driving in this, yes, it's loud because it's a big vehicle, but I can hear what the kids are saying in the back, and if I talk to them from the front, they can hear me. When we drove it back from Florida a month ago, I was towing an RV with a piano in it and a ton of other stuff, book boxes. I probably had 3,500 pounds worth of stuff in that little U-Haul trailer. And highway driving, we were doing 75, 80, and the gas mileage, we did 15.5 on a regular, consistent basis. Handled very well, drove very well. You know, honestly, like it drives really well. Way better than my big Ford E350 van. And this is a much bigger vehicle. And I did sleep in here one night with the kids on our trip back. It was comfortable enough. Right here, this gap in the middle, there's a board that comes out from under here, and then there's two seat back cushions here. These things like this, and they just go down here like this, and it fills in that gap just right. That one night when we slept in it, we opened up these side windows here, just like this. And then there's a vent up there, just like regular old RVs, that opens up at the top and it'll suck air in or it'll blow air out. It was like a nice breeze that came through here. It was really comfortable. I didn't run the air conditioning unit or the generator or anything. So it was really comfortable. Where we were was not super hot anyway. So it really cranks it in, like you can feel it. And it has an awning, but we'll probably almost never use it because here. So that's an awning. Let's see if I can get it to go back in. All right. It didn't break or kill anybody. That's good. There's actually a surprisingly large amount of storage back here, and it's deceptively large. I mean, when you're like looking at it and opening it up and all that, it doesn't feel like it's all that much, but really, the doors, they come to right here. So you've got all of this space right here, all the way across, plus you have all this space underneath this rear seat. And you've got this screen here, and you've got a screen on the side that I'm just too lazy to open up today, which is kind of cool because you could open everything up and have screens to kind of mostly protect you from bugs getting in. But this is one of those things that I was telling you about that's kind of cheap that could have been done better. Was this right here came undone. Like it just totally came out of its thing, and I just basically redid it and slid it into the pole and I think it's all better now. There's a propane heater in here, so I can turn that on and keep the whole thing really nice and toasty. The heater's kind of cool, obviously, because you don't have to run the generator, you just need propane. I cranked it up the other day and it got hot quick. You've got storage everywhere. You've got cubbies and cabinets and panels and drawers and stuff all over the place. Tons of interior storage. So, you know, it's got the Mercedes headlights, HID. They're really bright. It's super awesome. It's got fogs, they're really bright. It's got the LED running lights. I have no idea what this does. I haven't been able to get it to turn on or do anything. You've got the headlight washers right there. It's kind of cool. The other thing I thought was really interesting is the body panels, to me, all looked kind of cheap and chintzy. I mean, I'm not sure if you could tell, but they just don't look, they don't match the same finish as your Sprinter body panels. And when I looked at an Airstream, I mean, the Airstream looks, like it all looks exactly the same. I don't know if this is just a standard Sprinter body kit, but the steps on both sides look exactly the same. They even have the same lights down there. Sprinter on the Airstream, on this one, on the Winnebagos that have the body kit. They all look identical. So it's got the dually. I'm probably going to debadge the American Coach branding and the Patriot branding just because, I don't know. I just think I'm going to. And here's the electrics, as I heard some British guy call it earlier. You've got Zamp Solar charge controller right here. You've got the inverter controls here. I have no idea what any of that does. Here's your generator. Here's your readout. So you actually, it's tank heaters. So if you're doing super cold stuff, you've got the ability to heat the water tanks, the storage holding tanks, you know, the black and gray water, all that. You got the LPG right here, so it's full. You got battery, says it's full. Fresh water is not so full. I haven't really filled it up. Black should be about empty and gray should be about empty because I emptied those. Actually, I showed the kids how to empty it because if they're gonna be pooping and peeing in there, they need to be emptying it so they understand that you don't just go in there if you just have to go. If you can hold it and go in a gas station or a restroom at like a restaurant, like that's what you need to do, because when you fill this up and it starts stinking, you're gonna have to empty it. That's the water heater right there. Also, it's a turbo diesel, so it's got some torque. So far, we've been really happy with it, actually. We just got back from a month-long trip to Florida. Went to Orlando and Northwest Florida and just saw friends and family and spent time in office and work and all that other stuff. And the purpose of this was to augment, like I said earlier, our long-haul road trips. We do 3 long-haul days. Hey, Day! What are you doing? Hey! Say hi.
Are you filming?
Yeah. Like currently filming right now. Do you like her Winnie the Pooh onesie?
It's the only way to go.
Daddy. The purpose was to make the 3 long haul days that we have tolerable, really, for everybody. I mean, I could do 3 long haul days all day long in just a moderately comfortable car, but to do it with the kids and with my wife and everybody, like, you have to balance everybody's like wants, needs, and desires, or it's just miserable, right? That was the goal. That was the goal here, was to try and make this more comfortable so that we could do it more often. I'll tell you one thing, it was amazing to spend so much time being like close to my wife and kids and just to be able to hang out together. It was awesome. Like, it was really awesome. We just did our first 10,000 mile service. Everything checked out, everything looks good. Everything seems to be working fine. I guess we'll have to see long-term what we think, right? So I don't know if you're gonna see it too much on the channel. We're gonna talk about it a little bit. You'll see it on the Instagram and all that stuff. Hopefully it serves a good long life. I know it's not four-wheel. I know it's not off-roady or four-wheel drive. I have a little bit of buyer's remorse, maybe not trying to find something that was four-wheel drive capable, but this particular vehicle, I wouldn't really want to take it off-road at all. It's big, it's heavy, it's lumbering. I wouldn't trust it in any sort of compromising terrain. It would just be probably a little too much to handle. It's kind of opened my eyes to the possibility, the idea of maybe getting like a short version of this in four-wheel drive. Really like the idea of having all the space. I just don't see myself doing any off-roading. I know there's people that do these, that take these bigger vans in off-road environments. I'm used to something smaller, so I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future. Anyway, I hope you really enjoyed this video. I hope you really enjoyed getting a glimpse at the Sprinter van. Hopefully, you learned something about how these vans are and what these vans look like and whatever. If you have any questions, let me know in comments or DM me on Instagram, and we'll see you guys in the next video.